Usually you get to the cross-mounted position when you come from here, and you pass the guard, you succeed on that, and you lay across the side. That's how you get to the cross-mounted position. Sometimes you're trying to mount and the person defends very well, making it difficult for you to accomplish the mounted position, which is your objective in a fight. So if you can't mount because he's defending well, this is a thought that might help sometimes. It's the hand grabs with the thumb inside of the collar like this. The other hand you grab his belt, just like that, holding the belt just like this. From here, you put your weight on the ground here next to his neck and on his tummy. Push off him and go into this position right here. Resting your knee on his stomach and this hand squeezing across on his neck. The idea of this hand is to make him think about protecting his neck here. That's the plan, is to put the blade of the arm across the neck. And the weight should be on his stomach enough that if you stand on your feet, he'll slide away very easily. If you just put your weight on your feet. So what you want to do is kind of ride the guy, keep the weight on top of him. So if he moves, he carries you with him. In the meantime, this hand here will be across the neck, bugging his neck. So that as he tries to block or defend that hand, you can then slide your knee over and find yourself in the mounted position. Once again, please. So lean across the side like this. The hand grabs to the collar like this. The other hand grabs the belt. Push off him and find yourself with the weight on top of him right here. Squeeze his neck with this hand to lead him to block this with the arms, to distract him with this. As he defends this, you mount. Other side, please. So from this position, hand on the collar with the thumb inside, making sure that you grab not like this, but like this. The grip should be the thumb over the four fingers, like this. The second hand, reach for the belt, push the weight off him, and stand up. The plan is to leave the weight on top of the stomach and use this hand as a belt as a support. Bring the blade across the neck to squeeze his neck. As he defends, the arm squeezing his neck, slide your knee over and mount. Let's just make sure that we get this hand like this, and this other hand should be grabbing the belt like this, as if you're riding a bronco here. Grab onto the belt and rest your knee against. You can actually pull the belt and push the knee in. Distract him with this hand on the neck, so that as soon as he feels the pressure and he addresses this issue, slide your leg over and mount. Ultimately, the plan is to get to the mounted position. Sometimes when you find yourself in this position here, across the side, and I do this, grab the collar, second hand on his belt, and I jump off him and I get to this, he starts to turn a lot this way here, scooting the hip away, creating the distance by sliding away from me all the time. One thing we can do is bring the hand this way, grabbing the thumb inside the collar this way. The hand now is this way. By grabbing with the position this way, when he turns towards me, if I raise my arm, he puts the pressure on his own neck, making it more difficult for the person to turn towards me. So that's the move here, so he cannot turn inwards. Go back for a second, please. So from here, if I find him sliding the hip a lot at this point, trying to get away from me, the hand goes to the neck this way, the other hand on the belt, pop up, so that I can put the squeeze here and distract him with that blade of the arm, preventing him from turning inward. Both of these moves have an interesting completion to them. When you grab the hand this way with the thumb inside and the blade of the arm over the neck, and the other hand on the belt here, and then you push off him and put your weight on his stomach. If the person at this point puts the hand here or tries to push you off, leaving his neck vulnerable, this hand could go under, reach in for the collar, and then choke the guy from this position. Even though you're not mounted, he's vulnerable to get choked out from this position. Let me do this on the other side. So if I'm here, I grab the collar, second hand on the belt, push off him, put the knee on the stomach, and he's trying to fight off and he's kind of ignoring this hand of mine. I'll bring my second arm always under, reach in real deep, close your hand like this, and then put the weight on his neck and choke him right here. If I have this kind of grab, with the hand coming underneath like this, the other hand grabs his belt, push off him, put the weight on the stomach, and here I am again. And once again, he's not concerned about this hand on the neck. This hand goes on the same side of the first hand, follows the first hand. All I gotta do here is bring the arm around, and there's I gotta choke on his neck again. So from here, if I have this move, grab the hand way in, this hand grabs the belt, push off the ground and off his body so that I can land my weight on top of him. If he's not blocking that arm, I'll bring this hand under, grab with the other hand underneath the first arm, coming around, putting the arm around in the noose, and then squeeze. So quick detail on this hand here. Let me turn your head this way a little bit. So the first hand goes in this way, grab way in. The second hand goes under the same way. I grab both collars on the same side of his neck. 1, 2. Bring the hand around the neck, and as I turn around, it's pretty very tight around the neck over there. Okay? So from here, the first hand is on the back of the neck. The second hand goes under, grabbing the same side. Of course, that the more distance you keep between the hands, the weaker will be the choke. So what you want to do is bring your hand way back in, and then the second hand will fall as deep as possible, touching each other. This way, by the time you bring your hand around, the hands are already close enough together that will increase the pressure on the neck tremendously. You're able to squeeze his neck now. Other techniques that we can use when we are in a cross mount position and you put your knee on the person's stomach are the following. If he puts the hand on the knee to try to push your knee away with his hand, you can secure the wrist, bring this hand under here, under his arm, step over the head, and then complete with this arm lock. So I'm laying across the side, grab the collar, get up in base. He puts the hand to push my knee away, secure the wrist, step over his head, find your hand through here between inside of his arm, hold your own wrist, shift the legs, and then bring it back. So from here, get up, hold the wrist, bring the hand through here, leg over his head, and then shift the arm back. Oops, the other side. Grab the collar, hand on the belt, get up in base. As soon as he puts the hand on the knee here, hold the wrist, bring this hand inside of the arm, drop the leg, glue his elbow to your chest, and torque the arm backwards. If when you go up, put your knee on the stomach, he pushes the hand on the knee, hold the wrist, you bring the hand around. If he grabs his belt at this point, with this hand, you can always go back to your collar, put your elbow on the ribs, sit back, and then find yourself with the arm straight or hyperextended joint of the arm. So from this position, Grab the belt, hand on the collar, up, put your knee on the stomach. If from here, he puts the hand on the knee, I go for the arm lock. Hold the wrist, step over the head, hold my own arm with this. If he goes back and grabs his belt here, and then I can't pull the hand away, my hand goes back to the collar, putting my elbow right on his rib, knee on his rib cage, sit back, and I now have the arm exposed for the arm lock again. If I'm in this position, grab the belt, the collar, put the knee on the stomach, and he does this move here, then hold the wrist, step over. This is what I'd like to do, bring the hand straight back. If he grabs the belt, my hand goes back to the collar, elbow on the ribs, put your knee on the ribs, sit back, and do this. Try to keep the legs snug here so that your legs are not too much spread out. Kind of keep it adjusting his arm with your legs. Glue it to your chest and then raise your hip up. If when you put your knee on his stomach, get to this position, he decides to just push you back up like this, control his arm, leg over the head, and sit back. And you have his arm right here for the arm lock. Want this way, please. So from this position, I decide to go up, put the knee on the stomach. He's pushing me back. Control the arm. Put the leg over the head. Sit back. Adjust the knees. Control his wrist. And then raise your hip to hyperextend the elbow. The other side, please. So from here, grab the collar. Hand on the belt. Push off him and get up. He's pushing me away with this hand. Secure the arm. Leg over the head. And sit back, and then raise your hip up for the arm lock. 1, 2, 3. From here, for example, if he keeps the arm down, we have the option of the choke, right? We talked about this. If he puts the hand here, we can go for the arm lock. If he pushes me back up, secure the arm, leg over the head, sit back, keep your knees together, and then raise your hip up